through this module, I learned a lot more about creativity that I didn't know before. Through the readings and presentations, I learned that creativity isn't always creating things in an artistic way, whereas more it's a form of problem solving. It's broken down into two parts. The first is relevancy, which is actually solving the problem, and then novelty, which is basically solving a problem in an original way that may not be expected. Both of them highlight the importance of context because without either of them, creativity with no context has like no value into solving a problem. I also learned that there's three different skills that play into creativity. First is tolerate the ambiguity. It's like the acceptance of vagueness and even thriving through situations that are unclear. So maybe not knowing everything that's going on and being okay with that, and that like that you'll be able to get through it. And then tolerate complexity. It's staying calm and persevering when large amounts of information are given. So even if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're able to know what's still going on and be able to stay calm in that situation. And then there's openness to novelty. It's having a willingness to explore novel, strange, or different ideas, actions, or solutions. So you're eager to learn new things and you're not scared of trying new things out. Yep, those are the three different skills that play into creativity. So the myth that surprised me the most and caught my attention was that you were born with creativity. I feel like it surprised me because it's not really something I believed, but it's something I kind of just always assumed. Like I never thought that deeply about. I never thought about how someone can learn creativity, and I thought it just came natural. Now I see that like in almost everything someone does is creativeness. Especially with this chapter, we're learning about how creativity is basically problem solving, and that's kind of something you develop as you grow up. So that was something that really surprised me. So, creativity is important to all companies and organizations because it's what drives their business. The way to stand out is to create something unique that no one has done before, or take something that has already been done and give it your own creative or original twist that makes it more appealing to your audience. The Creative Podcast gave me a huge insight on how to spot creativity in the workspace and how important it really is. Out of the examples that he gave, one that stood out to me was that you have to understand what you're creating and how it impacts someone on the other end. The example he gave was that if you make a cool athletic website that you think will stand out to people and get them to buy your product, what does cool mean to someone that can't access that website? How are you going to get those people to want to buy your product as well? Basically, being aware of your audience and their surroundings and how you can connect to them or how they'll feel about the product or anything that you're giving to them. The second example is that when there's no creativity in a workplace, people begin to be seen as resources instead of human beings. I've actually seen this happen in workplaces where people are just so focused on getting their work done that they forget to put in the input of their own creativity and make their work their own. Even with my job in retail, if I see in day to day, if we're just focused on the numbers and selling and we got to get the certain amount of money in, we kind of forget about the customers that are walking in and what they deserve from us, like their experience in our store. We kind of take away from that with them, focusing on just numbers, then kind of giving that person to person experience, which is really what's going to make them buy stuff in our store. So there are two approaches to creative thinking. The first is divergent thinking, which is a broad search for many diverse and novel alternatives, such as like brainstorming. And then there's convergent thinking, which is a focused, more affirmative evaluation of novel alternatives, which is more like you're evaluating your options. Divergent thinking is more like a web-like focused on connections between ideas, while convergent is more linear and systematic. It narrows down multiple ideas into one single solution. Divergent thinking is more of a why not, and convergent thinking is more of a why. Teams will mostly use divergent thinking to come up with multiple ideas and then use convergent thinking to analyze and narrow down those ideas. And then they'll basically bounce back and forth between divergent thinking and convergent thinking to come up with a final solution. So the creative change process is broken down into four factors. The first is people, process, environment, and product. My real life example that I thought of was the creating sign language animated Bitmojis that they're doing now. Bitmojis are what people can send through iPhones, through like their messages, and they can like kind of talk to each other. You mouth what you want to say, and the Bitmoji will imitate that and you can send it to your friends. So I saw online that they actually created sign language ones for those, to where now it's hands involved too. It used to only be the face up, but now they included like the kind of full body to have hands so they can talk. So like deaf people can talk to each other through that as well. The four factors relating to that would be people. That would be who wanted to make this change to be more inclusive of the ASL community. The process would be using the technology already designed to create regular Bitmojis, but now adding on hands to be able to communicate through sign language. The environment would be the ASL community, and the product would be the ASL community being able to take part in something. This isn't really a need, but it was kind of something that hearing people find fun and that they can do in between each other, and it's kind of just being more inclusive for the ASL community. So I thought that was really cool and definitely a creative change process.